All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Apologies for the delay. Trying to do my good Samaritan duties today, and it got me about an hour behind schedule. And again, just wanted to cover some of the top news headlines today. The acting police chief at the time of the Uvalde, Texas elementary school shooting has resigned on today, a very specific day to shootings in history, including last year, the murder of the rapper Young Dolph in a shooting. So we'll talk about why this ritual, which no doubt it is, just like the shooting itself was a ritual, why it comes today. And also want to go over the University of Idaho killing. I'm also thinking about driving out there this weekend. It's about a 3.5-hour drive from where I am. I was hoping their football team would be in town this week, but they're actually playing Idaho State. It's Idaho at Idaho State in Idaho State this weekend. I'll keep you posted on that. I might very well do that to try and engage with the students. Could be another good teaching moment for the youngsters. And Gabby Petito, her mother awarded $3 million today for the wrongful death lawsuit. And also, we did have the caller at the end of last night's TFR episode ask about the death of Shanquella Robinson in Cabo, Mexico. Again, we'll recap that because other people have asked. And today, Nancy Pelosi saying that she'll never run to be Speaker of the House again. And of course, she is 82 years old. And a lot of people have probably been wondering why she has been the Speaker of the House. She hasn't been in her best mind for a while. If anyone's been paying attention to some of her recent moments where she seems to just be standing in front of a camera speaking in a foreign language or some kind of, I don't even know how to say it, just speaking nothing but gibberish. It's been worse than Kevin Fetterman. And also, nice little ritual with mortgage rates today. Biggest weekly drop in 41 years. As a reminder that you are on GematriaEffectNews, where, of course, in Gematria, mortgage equals 41 like home. So what do you know? The biggest drop in 41 years. But anyway, of course, all news every day is by the numbers when you know the code. And that is why the Uvalde police chief resignation comes today. Notice from the May 24th shooting to today, November 17th, is 177 days later. And of course, in the language of Gematria, the Jesuit order equals 177. And like we've said from day one, this is a Jesuit ritual. The Jesuit fingerprints are all over it. And let's not forget that the school's motto is Together We Rise, which equals 177. If you are new here, I was in Buffalo educating about the shooting at the Tops on May 14th of this year. And in one of the live broadcasts, I was pointing out how the Tops shooting was exactly 144 days after the death of Peter Canisius, who was a Jesuit, who the Jesuit University in Buffalo, just down the street from the Tops, is named after. And from his death anniversary to that shooting on May 14th was 144 days later. And I said, in the stream, I said, we're not too far away from May 24th. I got there that weekend, or the weekend after the shooting. So it was probably 3 or 4 days before Uvalde. But I was saying, let's watch what they do on May 24th, the 144th day of the year. We know how much the Jesuits like that number. And then boom, what do you know? The Uvalde mass shooting happens. So realize in Gematria, that if you're new here, to get these numerical values for these words, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26. It's the most simple cipher. It's known as simple English Gematria. You add up the letters in Jesuit order, it equals 144. If you say the Jesuit order, you're just adding on the letters of the, it's also 177. And these numbers are used ritualistically again and again. Notice how the school's motto is Together We Rise, which is also 177. When you run it in reverse, the school's motto is 201, just like the Jesuit order. And again, we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, whose birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, equals 201, who's the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. Again, his name's Pope Francis. The Jesuits are from France originally. The last French Pope was the 201st. And of course, the big celebrity in Uvalde is Matthew McConaughey. And I just want you to remember what he did with the green Converse. By the way, the mass shooting was in his town 201 days after his birthday. But I just want you to remember that the green Converse ritual, he went to the White House to talk about the shooting. The shooting was 201 days after his birthday. And when he held up the green Converse at the White House, it was 150 days before his birthday. And as we talked about then, again, you learn this code, you see how rigged the whole show is. He's holding up green Converse in the time of the playoffs as the Celtics go to their 22nd championship in the year 22, where Boston and basketball equal 22, where the president who said there would be gun reform on his watch, Joe Biden, his Secret Service name is Celtic. And remember, Joe Biden gave his speech about gun control in relation to Uvalde and Buffalo on the day of Game 1 of the NBA Finals. And again, green Converse are associated with basketball and the Boston Celtics team. But he gave his speech that was 17 minutes, where he referenced the number 17 a whole bunch of times, reminding that the day he announced he was running for president, Joe Biden, John Havlicek, number 17 for the Celtics, died 17 days after his birthday. And then again, Biden talking to all these 17s in his 17-minute speech. And in that Game 1 of the finals, the Celtics scored 17 unanswered points at the end of the game to win. Of course, NBA equals 17. Whole nother topic, but a lot of rituals with that number in the NBA. Like LeBron going from the 17th state, Ohio, to the Lakers on the first day of the 7th month, like 17. Which prompted me that day to explain why LeBron would win the Lakers their 17th championship in his 17th season, which he did. And let's not talk about the two UCLA basketball players who dropped dead within days of LeBron signing with the Lakers. But again, this code, this knowledge, it is the knowledge of the cabal. And again, you look into the English language, you see that it's credited to a Catholic monk, Burfirth. In the 16th century, the Jesuits are credited. English is standardized with the spellings we have today. We get on the same calendar that we're now on that's all synced up. You know, eventually in 1776, the Illuminati is created by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, who ended up dying 201 days after the anniversary of the order's establishment. But again, that's where all these things fit in. Order of Illuminati 201, Illuminati 150. Illuminati means in the light. They say the sun's 150 million kilometers away. McConaughey has this ritual 201 days after his birthday. And again, 150 days before his upcoming birthday, he's speaking at the White House about the green Converse. Green Converse equals 150 when you run the alphabetic order forwards. It equals 201 when you run it in reverse. So I'm just trying to establish the point of why we realize that it is so important to run the alphabetic order forwards and backwards, and how being aware of this, you can see the way the rituals are being performed. And remember, they tell you that 19 children were killed while 19 police stood down, right? McConaughey did this on June 7th, which can be written 6-7. That's when he spoke at the White House. 6-7, like 67, the 19th prime number. Rob equals 19. Chaos equals 19. They're both 19. And for the record, blood sacrifice and human sacrifice are 67. You know, in recent times, we've had Kanye come out and talk about how his mom was sacrificed. And with regards to the Illuminati, a lot of people won't catch this, but I want you to see what's in the Gematria of Kanye West and Illuminati and why he did this on the 15-year anniversary of his mother's death. If I can get the screen to load. There must be a lot of people on the calculator right now because I've never seen it take this long to load. Holy smokes. Okay. All right, Kanye West. You see how his name is 120 and 48? The word Illuminati is 120 and 48. And the thing about 120, we just talked about 150. It's 150 in reverse Illuminati. It's 120 forwards. If you add the numbers 1 through 15 together, it equals 120. Kanye, on the 15-year anniversary of his mother's death, says she was sacrificed. And again, the Illuminati was founded on the first day of the 5th month, like 15, right? Donald Trump, his buddy, the next day on the 15th, or not the next day, but a few days after Kanye says his mom was sacrificed, on the 15th, he's announcing he's rerunning for president. And by the way, when Kanye's mom's album came out, Donda, in tribute to his dead mother, it was 73 days from the death anniversary of his mother that album came out, you know. And let's not forget that she died 121 days after her own birthday, going with the blood sacrifice thing. So anyhow, ritual sacrifice, rituals period, numbers, this Kabbalistic code of letters and numbers. Again, in Kabbalah, it says God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. This is the knowledge of the people ruling over us. Everything that they do is by this code. They are the cabal, a term based in Kabbalah. And, you know, they don't miss a beat. I mean, remember when the report came out for the Uvalde school shooting, it came out on July 17th, 17/7. In all these shootings, they encode the number 44. So they're bringing up the shooting again on the day, leaving 44 days left in the year. Remember, a year ago, young Dolph was dead on this day in a shooting. And let's not forget, young Dolph posted on the 201st day of the year last year, July 20th. He said, here, let me just show you. The visual will make this more powerful. Let me pull it up. Young Dolph, a year ago, it was a major ritual. He was dead 68 months after the release of his album King of Memphis, which was in tribute to Martin Luther King, who was killed in 68 in Memphis. And then the nation's first gun control legislation, of course, was 201 days after his death. Young Dolph's killer turned himself into the 201, which is the jail there in Memphis. But hold on, let me get up the right post. I forgot how many posts I had on his death. I think this will be the right one. Ooh, we covered a lot on this. There it is right here. The 201st day of the year. He posted this on July 20th, the 201st day of the year. Remember, that's the anniversary of the moon landing. The moon is illuminated by the sun. Neil Alden Armstrong, 201. But young Dolph, he posts this, family money sacrifices. You can't provide for your family without money, and you can't make money without making sacrifices. And you know what? If young Dolph really was murdered last year on this day, if that's really what happened, you know, maybe, you know, he could have chose to have a family member murdered or a friend murdered or a associate in the music industry murdered, and instead he just chose himself. And if that is the case, that's almost respectable. But really the thing is that people should recognize how sick well, a lot of things are, including the entertainment industry. And imagine if everybody just stopped buying records and supporting these companies. They wouldn't have a reason to exist, and it would pretty much bring an end, you know, to what's going on. But then again, I was just watching a clip of Kanye West at his concert say his little rhyme, not even to music, just talking to the audience, you know, about how he sold his soul to the devil, and it came with, you know, it was a crappy deal, but it came with a few things like a Happy Meal. And the whole crowd erupts like they're cheering for it. It's just like, my God, man. I guess it's a different crowd than the Jesus Walks. Not to mention in that song, he mentions to his mom, he'll be gone till November, the month she ends up dying in. But, yeah, again, it's a code, you guys. It's a code, and the Jesuits, the Catholic Church, this is clearly the thing still ruling. Well, I mean, it's been ruling over this earth for a long time. Yeah, it's the thing still ruling over this earth. So, 177 days after the shooting, they just got to keep bringing up the story, detail by detail. Does that mean he's been collecting a government paycheck for all this time? Yes, it does. To think about it. This guy participated in this ritual, and he's been getting paid all this time by the taxpayers. Again, that's why not only do we need to stop buying records and supporting these studios, we need to stop supporting this government, because this is what this government is. They'll have 19 cops stand down while 19 kids are killed. And then remember that the blamed shooter was the high school student who was at the high school that just had the active shooter drill. You know? And then the first teacher that was supposedly dead there, she looked a lot like the teacher that was also put all over the news a decade earlier at Sandy Hook. Looked like the exact same teacher. I mean, literally looked like the exact same person. The exact same teacher who died at Sandy Hook now dies at Uvalde. What's really going on? One other thing that can be said about today's date, November 17th. We talk about this every year on this day. 1117. 1117 is the 187th prime number. The prime factors of 187 are 11 and 17. 187 is a special number. First of all, it's related to homicide through police code. Second of all, if you write out Society of Jesus, which is the formal title of the Jesuits, it's 187. And if you write out Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, it's 187, which was created by the Jesuit order. And if you write out Fraternal Order of Police, it's also 187. I was just pointing out on my Twitter, just yesterday. These things are, it's like this all over America. In every town I've lived in, the Masonic Lodge is right next to the police station. In this case, I now live in the tiniest town I've ever lived in. And, the Masonic building is also where the old police headquarters is. And now both buildings are abandoned because Freemasonry is a thing that's dying in America. It doesn't have a lot of members like it used to. But once upon a time, not that long ago, the Masonic Lodge and the police department were all in the same building. Secret societies, police, mass shootings where police reports just aren't making sense, where the details keep changing. Secret knowledge, secret societies, authority, It amazes me that people are having so much trouble putting this together. And again, in Manly P. Hall, it makes more sense when you realize this. According to Manly P. Hall, in the Secret Teachings of All Ages, he says the most important cipher is the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. That's the same one where shooting's 44. But notice, police is 33, masonry's 33, secrecy's 33, order's 33, federal's 33, and what are the odds that all those words are 33? And remember, the federal city has the Masonic headquarters, the House of the Temple, where it has 33 columns on the outside that are each 33 feet tall. And every time I say that, it takes me back to 2013, because I remember sharing that on my wall on Facebook in 2013, something just like that. And the response from the people who knew me was they thought I had developed schizophrenia. I thought, really, you guys? Showing that all of these words equal 33 in language, and the Masons have a headquarters in D.C. where it has 33 columns. And again, guys, the address of that building, Mason is 17 and Masonry is 33. The building with the columns is at the address 1733. 1733. Modern Freemasonry created in 1770. And that's what bothers me about this nation. You show people things like that, which should make everybody who has a brain go, wow, that's interesting. I'm going to have to look more into that. Little secret from the secret society, huh? But instead, the average person goes, you sound like a crazy person. You sound like some kind of conspiracy theorist. It's like, wow. And to me, that's why it really does seem like people are under a spell. Because they all have, I shouldn't say they all, but 90% of America is this way. It's like, that's an illogical reaction to the information I just shared with you. The information I just gave you is fact-based. It's like they can't possibly be this dumb. They can be this programmed and trained, though. So, Thankfully, some people, though, who are under the spell, that they see this and it snaps them out of it. But unfortunately, not everybody. Now, with regards to the themed stories from coast to coast, on the same day, at the same time, the news stories break. 3 people murdered at the University of Virginia. 4 people murdered at the University of Idaho. It's like, And again, this is the kind of stuff I looked at for years before I knew Gematria, and I just said, what's with the themed news? Why are there mass murders at different universities in the news at the exact same time? Well, the community did really great research bringing this all together. Again, both murders supposedly happened Sunday the 13th. But we didn't hear about either of these stories until Monday the 14th. That's when the news broke. Monday morning, November 14th. And the University of Virginia got more attention because it's on the East Coast where more people live. Idaho's a relatively unpopulated state. But again, just the ritual is so obvious. University of Virginia is the Cavaliers. It was on King Charles's birthday that this happened, and Cavaliers are those who fought for King Charles in the English Civil War. And then at the University of Idaho, the murders are on King Road. But again, Gematria plays its course here. University of Idaho is in Moscow, Idaho, on the border of Washington, right next to, pretty much, for people who don't know, Washington State University is in Pullman, Washington, which is a really tiny town. Almost everybody who goes to Washington State University hangs out in Moscow, Idaho, because it has a movie theater and is a bigger town. But anyway, notice how Moscow has that gematria of 74. Just like how Charles turned 74. And if you're new here, arguably one of the most special numbers in this entire code. In the most simple cipher, killing is 74, occult 74, Masonic 74, holiday 74. Again, 3 of the first 5 U.S. presidents died on 7-4. English is 74, Gematria is 74, energy 74. Everyone's favorite delusion. Jesus equals 74, like cross, like Messiah, like gospel, like parables. They're all 74. Sorry for the new person who just got offended, but yeah, delusions aren't helping anybody. Can't tell you how many hate mails I've got in the last 10 years that people had the exact date calculated that Jesus was going to return. He was supposed to return according to 5,000 people. 5 million times already. Keeps being a no-show. This guy keeps missing the party, Jesus. Maybe he'll return after World War 74. Anyway, on Charles' 74th birthday, reminds me of how I was at Buffalo educating about the Tops killing on Jefferson Street. Jefferson, one of those 3 presidents who died on 7/4. I mean, just look at it, you guys. Jefferson and Adams both died on July 4th, 1826, and then 1826 days later on July 4th, Monroe dies. Again, this stuff's been going on for centuries. And look at it. King Charles, right? King Road in Moscow, Idaho. Cavaliers in Virginia. But notice, King Charles in the most pure cipher is 53, like Virginia, like Moscow, Idaho. Isn't it perfect? It's just so perfect. And the date that the murders happened was a date with 66 numerology. It was the day before his birthday. Again, both killings the day before. The news, the day of his birthday. But the day of the killings was a date with 66 numerology. Charles equals 66 in the most simple cipher, as does homicide. Again, the most simple cipher is the alphabetic order. Charles. Homicide. And Charles is, let me see this. Charles, the current king, he's the first descendant of Russian Imperial Romanov family. So there's your connection for why Moscow, Idaho on King Road. Shout out to the woman who called in last night. She nailed it. And I also noticed that the University of Idaho, their nickname is the Vandals. And notice what a Vandal is. A member of a Germanic people that ravaged Gaul, Spain, and North Africa in the 4th, 5th, 4th and 5th centuries and sacked Rome in AD 455. It reminds that the queen, well, Germanic includes England, right, where they are now, but it also reminds that the queen, his mother, was from Germany. So go figure. And then, like the woman said last night, the killer in Virginia is a recent transfer to the school, Chris Jones, who played football in Petersburg, Florida. The old capital of Russia is St. Petersburg, where it transferred from there to Moscow. And, you know, in Idaho right now, they're terrorizing the town because they're saying the killers are still on the loose and they don't have a clue who did it. You know, you see, I'm just blown away that I've been doing this for a decade and proving this stuff day after day, and you don't see every person out there with a major platform helping share this information. Yet, you know, the people who have major platforms are still getting all the views and all the attention, and they're not doing anything. They're keeping people stuck in politics, and again, that's the reason they have the major platform, right? Because they're part of it. They're part of it. That's why Google allows them to get the views and for their videos to stay up and not have to deal with censorship. It's just sad that people can't figure it out. And it's so frustrating in the information age when everybody has a smartphone in their hand. Like, I would think, like, okay, there's 1,000 people that watch the video within the first hour. I would think, like, okay, if all 1,000 of those people shared the video, you would think at least one person on all of their feeds would find it that would think it was interesting, and then maybe they'd share it with another 1,000 people, and they'd share it with another 1,000 people, and before you know, a million people would come across the information, but somehow that never happens. It doesn't make sense to me in this information age. So, okay, Gabby Petito awarded $3 million, or Gabby Petito's family, they said it was paid to her mother today, gets $3 million, and notice again they got her in her Zion shirt. We've been talking about this pattern with 44 and the Gabby Petito thing, so here we are on the day leaving 44 days left in the year. Again, Zion's 44, Brian's 44, Kill's 44, Execution's 44. Her body was found in Wyoming, if I'm not mistaken, the 44th state. Is that right? Hold on, let me go back and review that. I'm going off memory on that one. Gabby Petito, Wyoming. Yeah, so her body was found in Wyoming, which is the 44th state in order of statehood. And for people who don't, people always say, what do you mean the 44th state? States were established in order. Delaware's the first state. Hawaii's the 50th and final state. So you can always type in states in order of statehood, and you can verify the order of states, and there it is, number 44, Wyoming, right? And don't forget what we were talking about when the story first broke. The fact that the police officer's car, here, I'm going to show you guys something interesting. If you go back and watch the police video from when Gabby Petito, oh, there it is, okay. I want to show you something real quick. Okay, so anything that has a gematria of 74 is 444 in Sumerian, which is just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6. So we're just talking about all those things that are 74. So killing, occult, Masonic, Jewish, English, Gematria, energy. The word stabbing is also 74. The Ides of March, the 74th day of the year. Remember the stabbing of Caesar, Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel. Again, any word that's 74 is going to be 444 in Sumerian. If you go back and watch that video, the police video of when he's driving to pull over Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, small talk and brainwash, the video starts at 444 on the police cruiser. And again, 4 from the Far East is a number associated with death. They've been coding 44 all over this story as the details have come out again and again and again. So now here we are on the day leaving 44 days left in the year. Media's got to show her in her Zion t-shirt, which equals 44. And then again, just reminding that it's all by the code. Today's date numerology is 70 and 50. 70 and 50. The mother who got paid, her name is Nicole Schmidt. And I've never met a Nicole in my life who spelled her name with an H in it. But that's how it's spelled in this case. Nicole Schmidt with an H. So as whole, right? Like where bodies end up in the ground. But Nicole Schmidt, 70, today's date numerology, 70. The lesser date numerology is 50, like Gabby Petito's 50. So is Utah, where the story begins, right? You get pulled over in Utah, ends up dead in Wyoming. And while we're at it, I forget, Utah's the 45th state, okay. So today does leave 44 days left in the year. That means that there's 44 days after today. So that means if you count today through the last day of the year, it's also a total of 45 days. So Utah, the 45th state, Wyoming, the 44th. And then again, today's the 11/17 date, which has the 187 connection, which is connected to homicide. And yeah, there's been a lot of Gabby Petito updates, and all of them have been by the numbers. If you come to my website, GematriaEffectNews, and just type in Gabby Petito, you'll be reading here for a while because I've been keeping up with all of this. She was just in the news, for example, November 3rd as well. They brought her back on November 3rd. That's the day leaving 58 days left in the year. Utah, Gabby Petito, Freemasonry, Secret Society. They're all 58. For the person saying, well, you just said her name equals 50, again, forwards and backwards. You want to know the ciphers to see through the rituals. Notice she's in the news on the 50-date numerology. She's in the news on the day leaving 58 days left in the year. You can go back through time and see the way they incorporate these numbers over and over in the rituals. Notice what time the post was at from CNN as well. They had to post at 1:44, right? At 1:44. Okay. Now again, last night we did this in real time, but for people who are interested in the beating death of Shanquella Robinson in Cabo, Mexico, let me put her name in here. She was killed October 29th, 2022, which was a date with 81 numerology. Notice in reverse, her name is 99. Queen Elizabeth's birth name, again, is 99, and her husband died at age 99 on the 99th day of the year, so they told us. And Rambo keeps talking about the rituals they're doing right now with Charlotte. This woman who's dead is from Charlotte, in connection to the Queen, who had the spider crawl on her coffin, which they made a big deal about. And as sad as it is to think, they must have put the spider on the coffin just for the news story. Again, Charlotte's Web, but from the Queen's death to this woman's death from Charlotte was 51 days later, And it's like we've been talking a bunch about the Queen in 99. And again, in this case, she's dead on the 81 date numerology. We call 81 the ritual number. Ritual's 81 forwards and backwards. So I don't have anything else to say about her passing right now, other than just like pretty much everything else in the news, it lines up perfectly. Day after day, what's in the news lines up perfectly. And then as for Nancy Pelosi, today being her last day, she's in the land of Washington. First of all, Nancy Pelosi was the 52nd Speaker of the House. Nancy Pelosi equals 52 like government. If you run it in reverse, her name equals 56 like Washington, D.C. Her birthday is 26/3, the 26th day of March. 263 is the 56th prime. And again, today's November 17th, 11/17, the 187th prime number. 11 times 17 are the prime factors of 187. Big number in Washington, D.C., 187. When her buddy Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, it was 187 days after her birthday. And again, don't forget she died on Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, getting replaced by the Catholic conservative Amy Coney Barrett. The Jesuits, the Catholic Jewish Alliance. Washington, D.C., 187. Society of Jesus, who's been in D.C. longer than the feds, 187. George Washington, who took office the same year Jesuit Georgetown was established, 187. Ancient and accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 187, created by the Jesuit order. And for the person who says, well, you did an ampersand to get that value, well, guess what? That's exactly how it's etched on the temple, too. So don't say I cheated. Notice the 227 as well, 227 that way. Notice Scottish alone, 49. Look at Washington, 49. Look at America, 49. Notice how America's 32 forwards, 49 in reverse, just like Scottish. The 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry shares the motto with the Jesuits in Merum de Gloriam. Scottish also 103 in the same cipher as Jesuits, or not the same cipher, excuse me, but Jesuits is also 103. Remember, Trump, who's a Jesuit and a Mason, he just announced he was running for president exactly 103 weeks before the election. Remember what just happened to the dead woman Virginia on the day of the Virginia murder news? She died on Obama's 103rd day of his age, at age 113. And if you guys missed that, she died on the 14th, Obama 14, slave 14, dead 14, end 14. She died exactly 43 weeks after Michelle's birthday, the 14th prime number, famous for dancing with the Obamas. Oh, snap, I forgot Obama was 103. I missed that in the video the other day. Obama 103, dead on Obama's 103rd day of his age. D.C., the land of the Scottish Rite and the Jesuits. Here, let's see if there's any other news by the numbers today since I started this stream. Pelosi will not seek, okay, we know that. New details on the investigation. Okay, that's been the story all day. Brittany Griner, I don't even want to talk about Brittany Griner. I'm super bored of the Brittany Griner story. It's all by the numbers too. If it's in the news, it's by the numbers. My guess is Brittany Griner, she's not even in Russia at all if I had to bet on it, so... And yeah, again, just everything is just, it's just annoying how just everything is manipulated by the numbers. Mortgage rates fall their greatest rate in 41 years in a week. This is perfect, isn't it? Mortgage, home, USA, all 41. 41 the 13th prime, the land of 13 stripes, 13 colonies, 13 years of slave school, where they wasted your time with a lot of useless lessons that didn't help you out with anything. Imagine had they snuck in some Gematria at a young age. Then you would realize it was a real thing instead of being programmed to think, America's the greatest place ever. I'm so glad I live in America where there's no propaganda and we have all the most honest people ruling over us. Seriously, imagine had you learned this as a child. Imagine how many years you would have had to observe its relevance. Problem is, when it hits you for the first time and you're already 30, 40, 50 years old, you start having thoughts like my sister. One of my sister's thoughts, this is what she said to me back when I used to try and persuade her to wake up to this. She'd say, Zach, if this was important, they would have taught us about this in school. That's how naive my sister is. And again, my sister, if you asked my sister about Freemasonry, she would tell you it's just a conspiracy theory. It's just like, I don't know how you can be this dumb, Jen. How can you be so dumb to think something that's real is just a conspiracy theory? It's too bad her and my mom don't talk anymore because my mom told her that she was a bad mother because she had her children vaccinated, which actually caused a physical altercation. And, my mom, she calls me up a lot and she complains about my sister. And I always remind her, I say, well, you're complaining about your daughter that you raised. And, my mom gets mad because I always say, the reason she is the way she is because of how you raised her. You raised her to believe in nonsense. You told her to, believe in religion, and you taught her to believe in the Democratic Party. And I said, now look at her. All she does is goes to church on Christmas and Easter and thinks that's all she needs to do outside of worry about her own family and, vote Democratic. She's doing exactly what you taught her to do. So, anyway, that's the problem, man. Parents just doing a bad job all around, filling their kids' heads with all kinds of bullshit, and it's because it's a vicious cycle. These parents as kids, they got the bullshit, then they teach their kids the bullshit, and you got a whole society that just learned a whole bunch of bullshit from their parents, from their teacher, from their nightly news anchor. Somebody comes along and tells them some real things, and they're like, oh, you sound like a conspiracy theorist. And it doesn't matter how much it adds up every single day. Doesn't matter how much it adds up every single day. Doesn't matter if you give the same lesson 1,000 times over the course of 5 years, never change your anything about your message. None of it breaks through to the believer. And again, it's probably the realest quote there ever was. You can't convince a believer of anything. Their thoughts are not based on evidence. They're based on beliefs. So if you want to believe that Jesus is real and you have a relationship with Jesus, person that you just talk to yourself who never communicates back, you'll think that's some kind of relationship. You know, you want to believe that your country's the greatest country there ever was while it rapes you in the ass every day? You're not even paying attention to how you're getting raped. You're just thinking, man, if I lived in Russia, I'd be getting raped even more. So actually, this is pretty good. You know? Zach's not talking about the truth because Jesus is the truth. It's like, wow, that's amazing. My shit's lining up every day. This person just keeps believing in Jesus, having these one-way conversations. Again, you guys, had we not been raised on this bullshit, everyone would see the whole religious thing as mental illness. You know, that's what I get tired of too, is like people accusing us doing real research and bringing knowledge that could actually change the world for the better based on evidence and facts and looking at real history and what's been going on. And people think that's mental illness, but then they fall back on their nonsensical, childish belief systems that make zero sense, where they keep talking about delusional figures that don't exist, that there's no historical record of, who never communicate back to them, and then that's their truth. I don't know what video you're talking about with Snoop Dogg. Are you talking about the one that they took down that's now up on my BitChute? I do have a long video on Snoop Dogg that's on BitChute. It used to be on YouTube. I mean, for the guy, why is there always someone when I look at the chat asking if I believe in God? Is it your first video here? Obviously it's not. So look, I'm going to explain to you why I just blocked this guy. If you know that my name is Zach, which I have not mentioned in the stream, and you're asking if I believe in God, then we know you're a fucking troll. God, that shit is annoying. These people are fucking losers. God, it is annoying as fuck. It is so fucking annoying, these religious trolls. You don't believe in God because you don't believe in the same delusional bullshit I do. The only people who believe in God are the same people that have the same delusion as me. If you don't believe in my delusion, then your God doesn't count. Only my delusional God belief counts. Get the fuck out of here, loser. I'm convinced that Jesus was given to you by the same satanic assholes who rule over this earth and do what they do to you every day and expect you to believe in bullshit and keep believing in it. You know? I don't think anyone can make a good argument to go against it. Because you have to explain why all of the worst people in the world all say they're about Jesus and all put their hand on Bibles to pledge. Why do they bring that thing in the courtroom? The courtroom's one of the most bankrupt places on all of earth, but they always bring the Bible in there. Yeah, I know. I mean, Christians are like the most annoying people. You don't see other people from other religions like denouncing people's belief in a spiritual creator because they don't agree with them, but you see it all the time with Christians. Christians are always the ones shitting on every other religion. Every other religion's bad, evil, demonic, satanic. Only their religion's good. It's like the most selfish, stupid religion. And again, I mean, you look at the other spiritualities, I don't really care for any of them. But if you really have to evaluate from a non-boyist point of view, you're like, which one of these is the dumbest religion? I mean, I can make the argument all day that it is Christianity. It's a pretty dumb spiritual belief. God sent a man to die on a cross for your sins. Oh, really? I mean, where does that even make sense? You're supposed to believe in that story? That's all you got to do? I mean, in the Islamic faith, what component of their religion is that dumb? And then Christians will be like, oh, Muhammad was married to little children. Okay, so you're going to denounce Islam because he was a pedophile? I guess you got about 5 gazillion reasons to denounce Christianity then, because it seems like every religious figure in Christianity is a pedophile. Seems like that's one of the top traits to be in charge of the church. You know, you got to have a thing for raping little boys. Everyone's just so biased with their religious bullshit. So annoying. See, isn't it funny? Like, Brendan Donahue, are you retarded? I just explained why I'm talking shit about Christians and not other religions. Have you ever seen anybody upload a hit piece video on me in the name of Allah or Islam? The answer is no. No. The only people I've seen uploading hit piece videos on me that are all based in bullshit are Christians. So, again, I've never had any door-to-door salesman for any religion except for Christianity. So, and again, I mean, do we like door-to-door salesmen? They're usually coming to your door to sell you some vacuums or some other shit you don't need, or Jesus. Door-to-door salesman. Have you guys turned on Fox News? That whole news station's full of shit, but they're also selling you Jesus all the time. All the news anchors are all about Jesus. The commercials are advertising Jesus. Call right now. Call right now to connect with Jesus. Then you get on the phone and they want some money. Yeah, it's just annoying, man. And I get tired of Christians again saying that Jesus isn't a middleman. Jesus is the definition of a middleman. And what are middlemen? Middlemen in pretty much almost all situations are hustlers. They're just trying to get a fee, you know? He's not a middleman. It's like, maybe you should look up the definition of middleman. He said that you have to believe in him to connect with the Creator. That's weird because I feel like I'm connected to Creator every single day, and I don't believe in Jesus. So I feel bad for all the people caught up on the middleman. What are all you middlemen believers doing in the world? Did you guys figure out the ultimate code? I don't think you did. I don't think any of you Jesus believers. You know what? I'll take every Jesus believer that's ever been out there. Show me your accomplishments compared to mine. Let's just be real. I figured out the code that the evil ones work by to manipulate humanity every single day. This code's helped free people from stuff that was really messing with their mind before, including bullshit religion. You know, it's helped them improve their position financially. Meanwhile, what are the Christians doing? Jack shit, thumb up their ass, Joel Osteen fleecing his populace so he can buy another mega jet plane. Did you see when the Team Truth tried to go to Uvalde to share knowledge with them about the shooting? They couldn't even say anything because the Jesus freaks had taken over the park and were blasting music about Jesus. Did you notice when I went to Buffalo, that was also one of the things I had to contend with? The churches were out there advertising in front of the cameras, blasting over their mega speakers, Jesus music. Notice, playing Jesus music through mega speakers and getting in front of the cameras and raising probably more funds for the church on the news, that's what they did at Uvalde. That's what they did at Buffalo. It doesn't help anything. It does nothing. All it did was drown out people who came with real knowledge who could have exposed what was going on. That the Society of Jesus is responsible for the killings at both places, which are facts, which are provable, where the evidence continues to stack up each day. So Society of Jesus responsible. Jesus freaks in the park, blowing out the speakers, and for what? You know what I mean? Thanks, Logan. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's just, again, religion is the foundation of why America is so stupid and the people of the world. Again, you're taught to believe really stupid bullshit from a young age, and then look, everybody grows up and they can't see through bullshit because that's how their mind's been trained. It's so frustrating. Yeah, again, I mean, you could argue that Jesus is the worst thing going in the world. The worst thing going. A delusional belief that makes no sense, that keeps people looking for real answers, keeps people from even trying to do anything to improve their situation, praying to Jesus, waiting for Jesus. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a story for little kids, and it keeps people in an infant state their whole life. Yeah, and again, I mean, that's the kind of society we are. Why do parents even raise their children to believe in Santa? I mean, why are they even doing that? And then you're treated like you're a bad parent if you don't teach your child about Santa. And what a mockery, too, just a reshuffling of Satan. I don't know why people, like Sig, I don't even know why you care. Why do you care what other people think about what happens after death? We don't know. People who claim to know things like that are full of shit, you know? It's like, put your mind towards productive things. If there is an afterlife, live your best life on this earth, you know, in case there is an afterlife. I highly doubt the key to the afterlife is believing in some bullshit story in a book, though. Highly doubt that's the ticket, you know. Knowledge 2020, your comment doesn't make sense. Can't blame Jesus if he isn't real, though. Your comment does not make sense. It's like, it's the type of comment that shows that you're not even getting the point. The delusion of Jesus is the problem. Okay. For the person who says, why are you heated this evening? My question to you is, why do you think I'm heated? I'm heated almost every day when I start thinking about how fucked up the world is and how dumb the people are in it. See, I mean, that's what a lot of people can't comprehend. You know, a lot of people can't comprehend what it's like to see the world for what it is for almost your whole life. You know? Yeah, I got rid of the wrench because 2 back-to-back comments that are stupid is like, okay, no wrench. No wrench for you. No, the attitude shouldn't just be just let people do whatever they want, because the problem with people doing whatever they want is when it's really stupid, it ends up fucking up your life. I mean, that's why it's just an idiotic comment. No, you got to get people on a better path. When you have a society of morons marching us all to the cliff, and even though you realize you don't want to go over the cliff, it's like we're all connected. You're getting drugged to the cliff by a pack of morons. No. No, I don't want you to call in. 2 dumb comments in the chat. I don't need a phone call of dumb comments either. I'm going to save you strike 3. Yeah, for the record, you guys, the doctor always tells me that if my what do they call it, pulse, blood rate was any slower, I'd be dead. I have low blood pressure, so I have very low blood pressure because there's not a lot of salt in my diet and I take care of myself, but I'm thinking about taking away everyone's wrench just so people don't get blocked so much. There's been way too many people who get blocked too early. I had somebody write the longest email, or not email, I mean longest letter to my P.O. box about how my mods might have killed the channel because they've just been blocking so many people that didn't need to get blocked. Somebody really went into great detail about like comments that people left and then how they got blocked right after, and you know, most of the time I'm not looking at the chat, but yeah, it is annoying when people get blocked too early. So Chigozi got rid of mods for that reason. Yeah, it's annoying though because when you're not looking at the chat, the porn bot will come in and start spamming everywhere, and then nobody can even read anything in the chat besides the porn. That's what's annoying too, is like Google figures out how to block everyone's good messages, but they let these porn bots spam all over the place. Shout out to Sarah Sutherland. Thank you for the Cash App, Sarah. Sarah's just so dedicated with the Cash App donations. I appreciate it. I've told her she has given me way too many, but she just keeps donating. So yeah, and I know there's a certain mod that's not here right now that tries to help out a lot, but somebody thinks that they're just doing way too much, and yeah, they have not been here that long. They are very helpful with dropping links, but like sometimes I give somebody a wrench and then they auto spam. They're like, now that you're a member of our community, make sure you represent. It's just like, oh, just stop with all that. I mean, nobody asked you to do all that. Yeah, but yeah, again, you guys, I don't know, man. I'm just super frustrated because I've been working for almost, before long it'll be 10 years of doing this, and it just sucks, man, because the world's just gotten so much worse. As I knew it would, that's why I've been speaking out, because I could just see the path we were on. I knew the time was limited for the time to speak out before the censorship got too bad. But now all those things have happened that I was worried about. The censorship is just so bad. It's hard to reach new people. It's hard to get the word out. The same trash channels that have been getting the big views for all the time are still getting the most views and just totally trash human beings. It's just like, God, man, it's like nothing changes. Nothing changes. It just gets worse. One of the biggest losers on this platform, puts out a thing to raise money for his supposed niece who's dying from cancer. Then after he raises 40 grand, he takes it down and uploads a video of his new house remodel. Somehow that channel is still getting way more views, even though they bring nothing to the table. You watch their video, same shit every time. Rothschilds, Bill Gates. It's like, okay. Let's learn something else about the Rothschilds and Bill Gates. I'm pretty sure everybody knows those names right now. There's a whole lot more to it than that. I'm just frustrated for a lot of reasons, you guys. I've been almost done with a book for a year, but I just can't pull the trigger on it because I don't want another book to come out and it hardly get any reception. It's just frustrating. It's just, ugh. Yeah, I don't know, you guys. Again, I mean, it's just like we've done some big things this year, and nobody with a platform. And I guess I already knew it, but it's just like I'm just saying, it just sucks that the agents who are here, the fake truthers, they continue to hog up all the views. They continue to do nothing from their community but siphon their wealth, and then they do absolutely jack shit. They don't give anything back. And again, nobody's ever trolling these people or making videos about them. It's like I'm spending $1,000 a month. I've been spending over $1,000 a month now for 4 years to try and get this community to unite, organize, network. Almost nobody's done it. I think about that too. I'm just like, is it even worth paying for these websites and having these websites built? Like almost no one's organizing or networking, you know? Yeah, again, I got to be honest, you guys. I'm disappointed about New York, man. You know, we should have had way more people out there. I mean, we didn't have 100 people in New York. That's not good. It's not good. In a city of, how many people live in New York City? Tens of millions? We didn't even get 100 people. I mean, we made an impact, but it should have been way bigger than what it was. So, shout out to Mike's. Shout out to Nicole, and shout out to Clean Preps, as well as Sarah Sutherland. I do appreciate the cash apps, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just discouraging because, like, I want to go down to LA for January 26th, but I'm like, what is going out to the cities even done? It's made way less people support the work. Views are down for the year. Everything is down. It's like I try to make the work bigger. So I want to do things that make it bigger, but I don't know how to make it bigger. Write a book doesn't help. You know, work harder than ever on just getting out content doesn't help. Go out and pound pavement doesn't help. It's like I don't know what to do that helps. The community is not growing. I can't bet on it. Hold on, what's Itachi got here? I don't remember this story. Itachi said R.I.P. Eduardo Uvalde, but this was July. Okay, so remember the Highland Park shooting on July 4th, another 7-4 killing. Shooter was a Jewish rapper, and I didn't realize that one of the victims was Uvalde. Wow. A lot like Uvalde, okay. Come to England? Have they gotten over the vaccine stuff to fly internationally? I did find my passport. I could leave the country to go somewhere else, but I'm definitely not getting jabbed to travel anywhere, so. Well, again, the countdown to World War III, no doubt about it that it is on, so. They gave us the little precursor with this week's story. What's up, Itachi?
Yeah, man, that's classic. Eduardo Uvalde, dying right after Uvalde. But what I wanted to call about is I just caught the end of your stream, and you're talking about how, like, it's not growing and stuff. Yeah, man, I'm frustrated with that as well. Like, I know you go out, you meet these, like, college kids and stuff, and you know, just countless times where you kind of traveled and been on the corner and introduced it to new people. And one of my things is I've never seen like those people like, hey, Zach, I met you at the corner. Hey, Zach, you know, you came to the college. You know, Is that like a fair point? I don't really have a point here, but I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. I mean, there has been some people who have said something like that, like they met me when I came out there, but it doesn't happen very often. So, yeah, it's just like it's like people don't want to know anything. So
it entertains them too much. It like appeases them, whether it's the politics, and Adam Francisco who cheers for Trump like the Knicks or something, or just
he figured out how to make his channel grow. He grew his channel like 50,000 subscribers since we had him on. But yeah, his subs are up to like 60,000 now. He had like less than 10,000 when he came on the show.
I don't know what his activity is. Like, if the activity is the same.
He's just doing a bunch of shorts with like women in bikinis. So I mean, that's why it's growing. He still doesn't get that many views, but he's made his channel grow. So.
Yeah, and then there's people who kind of just use your work, and it's all about either making money, it's all organic, Jesus. They take the work they learned from you and kind of just like, attract the, I don't know, borderline lemmings that find this work, and they're like, oh, I don't like the way Zach talks. It's too aggressive for me, stuff like that. And they just kind of just suck followers. And you see people who've like left the community kind of in these chats where the people are saying it's all organic or how you can make money off crypto and all that. And I'm just like, it's just pathetic. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think that's it, man. It's just like, it's just frustrating. I thought when I was 18 that humanity was done for, and nothing's changed. That's what's sad. It just seems like it's even worse than it was back then. So.
Yeah, man. So I just had to call and get your thoughts on that. Thanks for taking my call. I'm gonna hop off.
All right, later, Itachi.
All right, see you.
Yeah, you guys, I don't mean to be such a Debbie Downer because there's already enough negativity in the world, but yeah, it's just, I the way I feel these days is it's like, God, everybody needs help at a workplace. Maybe I should just go, wash dishes in the kitchen somewhere because they need help, and then they could open up their restaurant. Then I guess I'd be helping out. I do this to be helpful, but it's just like humanity is just too stubborn, too stuck, and seemingly too stupid. And even the people looking for answers, they seem to be too stupid when they find them. They'd rather tune into all these trash-ass channels that just keep recycling the same shit. The video's like playing a news clip and then advertising some product and then reminding people to pray to Jesus. It's got 100,000 views. It's just like, God. I guess people don't watch my channel because they watch the videos that say Zach is a Jewish Israeli shill who denounces Jesus. It's like, well, I'm definitely not a Jewish Israeli shill. I have spent a lot of time showing why we give so much money to that nation and what's really going on, but it's also kind of weird because it's like, don't these people realize that Jesus is from Judea? I mean, Jesus is Jewish, and the New Testament was glued onto the back of the Old Testament, so it's kind of like riding on the coattails of Judaism. Anyway. The Darrell Brooks case, I covered that a year ago when it happened. I know it's back in the news, but it was a huge 201 ritual. Here. Again, just for familiar patterns. 201 here. Let's go back to Waukesha. Or is it Waukesha? Waukesha. Let's see. Okay, that's Rambo's post on it. Here we go. Darrell Brooks, Mr. 201. Here we go. And remember, before they even put out the guy's name, before they even put out the name, when this first happened, I was like, why is there a Christmas parade in November, first of all? But the thing that I have a post before this. This post is the follow-up. Here. When the news broke, it came out of the mayor's office, and the mayor's Jesuit educated. And look at the mayor's office. When the news first broke, the whole story came out of the mayor's office before they even had a Darrell Brooks. But I noticed, I said, oh, look at that. Look at the address of the mayor's office in Waukesha. And again, the first, for people who don't know, that town's part of American football history. The first ever forward pass in American football history was thrown in the town of Waukesha by the Jesuit University, St. Louis University. And then you think about, Vince Lombardi, the Jesuit, who died at Jesuit Georgetown. He established the Packers in Wisconsin. Then right now you have the quarterback of the Packers, Aaron Charles Rodgers, whose name's 201. And remember, he became the big hero last year on Remember the 5th of November when he spoke out against the vaccines in one of 1,056 COVID rituals. Kyrie Irving and Aaron Rodgers getting all the credit for... if you're totally asleep and don't know what's going on, I see why you would like them, because they did, for the most part, they were right on about, but you just see that they're puppets on strings. And again, that's why Eric Adams ended the vaccine mandate for New York on Kyrie's birthday. But, again, just one of 1,000,000 Jesuit rituals, the whole thing in Waukesha last year. So the only difference is a year later, I know how to say the name of the town. I thought it was Waukesha last year. Waukesha. But just with regards to St. Louis University, the Jesuit school throwing the first forward pass, don't forget Tom Brady's whole career is 201, and he had a lot of rituals there with the St. Louis Rams back in the day. And then he's even had rituals with them since they moved to L.A., and then he just had another ritual surpassing 100,000 passing yards versus the Rams. And, of course, Rams does equal 201 in Jewish Gematria. Tom Brady born 201 years after the Illuminati in America. Check out Net's all-time record, primetime relationship, and what day of the year the game ends. I don't really understand. I could look up their all-time record, primetime relationship. You mean prime number relationship? And what day of the year the game ends? Well, I would assume it would end on the day it's being played today. Nets all-time record. Let me see if I can see what he's talking about. 1583, 2136. Maybe he's talking about including playoffs. 1653, 2233. I don't know. You got me, Itachi. I don't know. So... yeah, I'll tell you another thing that annoyed me, just the way my day started. My mom calls me and always wants me to watch these videos that are connected to Del Bigtree. And I'm like, Mom, I don't need to watch. All these videos are just rehash of all the same material. Not to mention they're all talking about things like they just figured it out. And I wrote a book about it, over 2 years ago. And then she always goes back. She's like, well, not everyone understands your gematria. She always says that. It just annoys the hell out of me. I'm like, it's not my gematria. God, it's annoying. It almost sounds like my trolls. But then, it's just, people would, this Del Bigtree the guy who led the anti-vaccine rally on Georgetown's birthday in D.C. It's like, come on, man. Can't see this guy's at control. Again, I got blocked in Del Bigtree's live chat like a year ago for sharing information about 201. I was like, wow, really? I just got blocked? I wasn't being rude. I was just leaving comment after comment about just the 201 pattern. And then I get blocked. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's what bothers me. Maybe they're just like, oh, this guy's making us look bad with these conspiratorial numbers. Or maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's like they're controlled op and they don't want that information in the chat. Because that's what it looks like to me. So... I know Robert Kennedy just put out a pretty cool documentary based on his book, and when you watch it, it's almost like reading my book. It's like, wow, did I not have an influence on this book? Because I swear to God, it's like reading my book. He even brought in 9/11 and everything, and compared coronavirus to 9/11. It's like, that's the name of my book, 9/11 to coronavirus. Finally, 2 years later, everyone's talking about how this whole thing's to build the surveillance state. I was talking about that from the beginning of the pandemic. That's what's annoying, too. It's just like, that's why I'm so annoyed, you guys. I've just, worked my ass off, and I can't get anybody who has a platform to help get the word out more. But they'll bring on all these guys who already get all this recognition. The J.P. Sears of the world, yeah, he's a funny guy, but his work's not going to change the world. He hasn't really figured out that much. He's still he's telling his people to vote for Republicans. Robert Kennedy's giving a shout-out to J.P. Sears after he does a movie that looked like it was a clone of my book. It's just like, come on, man. What did J.P. Sears influence in this movie? Nothing. I'm pretty sure my book influenced a lot. Anyway. I appreciate it. Suki, thank you. So. When your name is Shill Alert and you keep, how many times in a day do you have to ask me the same question? So Shill Alert asked me this morning if I thought Uvalde was real, which I responded to. And then they asked again and I ignored it, and now they're in the chat. So do you just keep asking the same question even though you get an answer? I mean, people like you are annoying. God. What did I say to you this morning, Shill Alert? I said, I don't know if it's real or not. But you were in the chat spamming that you know that it's a hoax. And I said, well, how do you know that it's a hoax? And your response was because they had crisis actors on TV that weren't crying. And again, that doesn't prove that it's not real. What if they do have crisis actors there and they're not even really attached to the shooting, but they just bring them on because they're trained TV personalities? Maybe the actual real parents didn't want to go on TV right away to talk about their children getting killed. That is another explanation. So, but I don't know either way that, and again, it's just like, why did that's the thing that annoys me too about the truth community. They always want to get hung up in arguments that they can't prove. The thing to prove is that there are operations being executed for the sake of an agenda to take away our rights and liberties, and as an excuse for why there needs to be more tax money for more cameras, more surveillance, more police, more blah, blah, blah. That's what needs to be exposed. The fact that the government is behind whatever happened, whether people really were killed or not. There's a part of me that goes, well, how do they get 19 cops to stand down while 19 children are killed? It seems a little bit too perfect, but maybe that's just the way they report it. Maybe that's not even exactly how it was. But yeah, it's just like people just don't have enough critical thinking to know how to make a proper argument or what are good points to stick to and what are not. And again, because, sadly, because the world is so dumb and the people in it are so stupid, you can't convince these stupid people to be intelligent. They're not smart enough to be intelligent. Russian vids. I'll never forget his video where he said I was a shill because I was covering up the fact that Bill Hicks is Alex Jones. Again, you guys, all of you who think Bill Hicks is Alex Jones, I encourage you to go back and look when they were both alive at the same time. Oh, but they both have a connection to Kevin Booth. Well, let me see. All three men are connected to the world of entertainment, and they're all from Texas, which is a big state. So does that mean because Alex Jones and Bill Hicks are both connected to Kevin Booth that they're the same person? Just think about how illogical that argument is. But also, you can go back and look at when they were both alive at the same exact time, and you can see how much different Bill Hicks looked than Alex Jones at that moment in the early 90s. Not to mention Bill Hicks is a good deal taller than Alex Jones. He's taller, he's lankier. I agree that there's images you can take and be like, yeah, they do look pretty similar in those pictures. But it's like, okay, let's look at all the facts though. So Russian vids help spread the rumor that, I'm a shill because I'm covering that up. It's like, my whole reason to get people to not make those arguments is so they don't make themselves look dumb and ignorant. And again, to me, it's just like, it's kind of a disgrace to say that Bill Hicks is Alex Jones, because the thing about Bill Hicks was, he made some really good points that got people thinking about things that were truthful. Alex Jones has spent a lot of time fear-mongering even more than the media and filling people's heads with bullshit. That's what I get annoyed about my mom, too. My mom calls me in the morning. She's like, oh, Del Bigtree's got this new information that Facebook's fining everybody who questioned the pandemic $2,500. She's like, you better get off PayPal before they fine you $2,500. I said, come on, Mom. PayPal does freeze people's account and hold their money, but they don't have the authority to fine people $2,500. There's so much bullshit information put out in the truth community, and again, it's just like, yeah, I try not to give you guys any bullshit. Just stuff that you can verify every single day And, it seems that people would rather have the bullshit. The bullshit's just more interesting. Oh, I don't like numbers and math. Yeah, it's too hard for me to count to 177. This adding up letters as numbers is just too difficult for me. It's like, my God, man. I'd rather listen to Del Bigtree talk about how PayPal's fining people $2,500. Okay. But yeah, Russian vids. His video wasn't just about that, too. Then he was also saying I was a shill because I was gatekeeping the flat earth. Oh, okay. Again, you guys, I said in 2015 when it came out, I said, why do you think Google's making this viral right now? You think this is going to make us look good, saying that the earth is flat in 2015? You think that? Okay, so nothing else is viral in the truth community right now besides the shape of the earth argument, huh? Thank you, Top Secrets. I appreciate the donation and the comment. And not just stick to numbers. Let's stick to facts. Let's stick to facts. Not opinions. Not your religious beliefs. I get so annoyed just reading the same stupid comments every day. Zach doesn't acknowledge the number one most important truth. Jesus. Here, let me, hey, Jesus, can you come on right now? I got 373 people on the live stream. You can convince them all that you're real. Here, I'll give you, you know what I mean? Let's see if he tunes in. Hey, Jesus, if you want to call in, the line's open to you. All-knowing Jesus, I'm sure you got my number. I think it's going to be another letdown, guys. I'm trying to remember the third thing that Russian Vids talked about in that video, the reason I was a shill. Alex Jones, Bill Hicks, Flat Earth. Oh, maybe it was Jesus. Maybe that was the third thing. And Russian Vids, who could question him? A faceless guy whose name you don't know? And I mean, that's the thing too, you guys. That's the thing. The only time people with a big platform ever talk about me is when they try to talk shit. I still remember when the car crashed through my house, everybody and their mom put out a video saying it was a hoax, and it wasn't a hoax. It was a major inconvenience in my life that cost me a lot of money. And it's like, oh, thanks for finally acknowledging me. Oh, wow, I didn't even know your channel even knew about me. I thought you were either unaware or completely ignoring, but God, now that there's a hole in my house, hey, why not make a video about me and say I'm a shill promoting bullshit and I just did an insurance fraud? Yeah, okay. Speaking of Jesus, what day did that happen to me? On Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, a car crashes through the house. How nice. So. Okay. Goodbye. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for just blocking that person. Just keep asking the same question over and over. God. Anyway, guys, I hate being Debbie Downer, but yeah, I'm also just being real because it's just like, God, man, I hate grinding every day. I hate how much older I've become in the time I've been doing this. That's what I think too. Like sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, God, I've gotten a lot older. And all I've been doing for the last decade is pumping out this information. And I thought when I first found it, I thought it was going to make a much bigger impact. Well, again, maybe I should give myself more credit. We were starting to have a huge impact back in 2016, 2017, before everything got censored and suppressed and deleted a gazillion times. Again, it was so frustrating when they started deleting the channel because they delete it like every week. You didn't even have to get 3 strikes. They just delete the whole channel. Just like, this is just some serious bullshit. Yeah, it's annoying that the world is so Orwellian. I'm just annoyed about all of it. Just in high school, they made us read all these books. A Brave New World where everybody's medicated. 1984 where everyone's ruled over by screens and liars. Just like, God, they made us read these books because they knew that this is the world we were going to be living in. By the way, anybody out there who's on like depression meds or anti-anxiety meds, I would work to get off all that stuff, you know? I'm sure if I was on antidepressants, I might feel better about the world too, but it's like giving you a false sense of reality. It's better to just like deal with reality and, you know, not be in some medicated state. They want us all on the meds. And realize, I mean, essentially if you're on these meds, you're giving your wealth to these companies, right? And because these companies have so many customers, they have so much power, and look at what they control now. I mean, you could argue that Big Pharma controls everything. The brave new world. Well, I appreciate the compliment. I hope I'm saying your name right, Mari. I could be saying it wrong. Maybe you pronounce it Mary that way. But no, I am a lot older, you know? Look at this picture. Hold on. Look at this picture right here. Kayla Decode Talker has the worst picture of me in the history of pictures. Someday Kayla and I are going to have to hang out again so I can get a better picture with her. It's because we met down in the hotel lobby grabbing breakfast early in the morning. I was looking like a wreck. But look at this picture too. Hold on. Oh my God. I saw this and I was just like, my God. In the photo I look even older. Hold on. Woo! Where's the picture at? Yeah, I don't feel like I look young for my age anymore. Shout out to the New York Truth Seekers. If you guys last Wednesday, last Wednesday it got all choppy on the TFR broadcast, but Cousin Mar right there is the man with the most height in that picture. So he's got the loudest sneakers too. Right here. Oh my goodness. Arthur looks like a young man compared to me. Man, I looked at that photo. I was like, look at the wrinkles, man. Good God. Where did the time go? So, granted, I mean, I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep for like 2 weeks. I think in the 2 weeks I might have got like 8 total hours of sleep the whole time I was on the road traveling. So, I mean, that wasn't helping anything, but yeah, it's been a big effort, and it's frustrating that not enough people in the world have gotten behind the message, helped out with the cause, and it really does feel like I just got more haters in the world than helpers. And I know why that is. It's because I've always ranted against religion, and, you know, religion is the majority, and it's like you can't break through the mind control. The mind control is just too powerful, so... But yeah, if you guys missed our trip to New York, man, shout out to everybody who came out. And really, one of the things that I was most impressed by was the way Arthur handled the mic at the World Trade Center in Manhattan. Again, I don't know that he has any public speaking experience, but he was a straight up natural. So Arthur is a little bit younger than me, but God, he looks like he's 20 years younger than me. So. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you guys, just try not to ban people with the wrenches. The real reason I want you guys to have wrenches is just so you guys can share links when you have information. That's the real reason I give almost everybody a wrench. If I see people leave like a good, helpful comment, I think, oh, they should have a wrench in case they need to leave a link for some good, helpful information. But the problem is people start banning everyone. And then maybe there's people that shouldn't be banned that are banned. So. Yeah, sweet lady did sneak on the camera last night. She was feeling extra. She wanted to show off the. She's been shy about having braces. She hasn't like smiled with her mouth open. She had braces on for 1.5 years. She didn't even really need braces. But, well, she needed to get braces, I guess. She has to get surgery next because Back when she's from a third world country. They didn't really take care of their teeth when they were younger, so she's missing teeth in the back. So she has gaps in her molars, and it makes it hard to chew. So she had to move her teeth so that they can do a proper dental implant. So she's had braces on for the last year and a half. Her teeth weren't really crooked ever, but... You know what? I got real skinny on that trip because I wasn't eating, and I haven't been. It's weird. I have not been able to put back on the weight. I'm just like, well, I'm also eating the short window, but man, yeah, I am skinnier than ever right now. Aging's a beautiful thing. Maybe. I prefer being younger, but hey. No, I've never taken Adderall. I've never taken any pharmaceutical pills except for... I'll tell you what I thought I had never taken any pharmaceuticals, but then I remembered a brief stint. My sister, who, again, is a lot older than me, she had bad acne when she was a teenager. So my mom assumed that I would have bad acne. But the thing is, I've always eaten better than my sister. My sister, she just ate meat, cheese, and bread her whole life. She never ate vegetables or really anything besides meat, cheese, and bread. And so my mom thought that I would have bad acne too. So she, preemptively put me on Accutane. But I didn't stay on it very long because it just made my whole body ache. I was into athletics back then, and it was hard to do anything because my whole body hurt. It was cramped all the time, and I knew it was the pills. I was like, okay, I don't even have pimples, and I don't think this is good for me. So I forgot about that because I thought about that. I was like, wait a minute, I have taken a pharmaceutical pill in the past. And now they say that Accutane shit is highly cancerous. I'm not worried about it, though, because I've taken care of myself and eaten well, but... My sister, you know what? My sister ended up getting breast cancer in her 40s. And maybe it was from being on Accutane. Who knows? And eating like shit. But yeah, if you have young people, I would not let them take Accutane. I can tell you, I remember how my body hurt. I think I was taking it for 3 months. But my body, it was I couldn't. It just cramped up. I'd start running on, and be like, oh, I have to sit out on the sideline. My body hurts. I feel like I'm 1,000 years old. Do I think the Artemis launch is legit? Well, the one thing that I appreciate about the Artemis launch is it gave us a good idea that the rockets would upset the Mavericks last night. And they did. It doesn't seem like, again, it's hard to say what's all legit with the space program. So, most of the images they give us look like a total load of shit and CGI. And what they say, they had to send mannequins up there this time. It's like they sent mannequins to test out what would happen. It's like, well, wait a minute. We did all this stuff decades ago, supposedly. Appreciate. I like that. Maybe that'll end up being my legacy. Spreading the term SAMF. There are a lot of SAMFs in this world, but yeah. Did you guys see that they supposedly launched mannequins up there? But hold on, it's like, well, wait a minute. They need to collect data on what it is to orbit the moon. I thought that they orbited the moon back in the '60s and read from Genesis. What Apollo mission was it where they read from Genesis? It was on Christmas Eve. I forget what number it was. Apollo 8, the reading of Genesis. It's like, what? Just the mockery all these years. Not to mention that was back in 1968. But, Genesis talks about the firmament and the barrier between what we call space and the earth, and it's like, what are they trying to do with this? Is it just straight up mockery? It seems like it is. I have an old post on this. But yeah, my point is, well, if they did this and went to space back in the 60s, why would they need to send mannequins in 2022 to get the results? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I won't go so far to say that there's no satellites in space. I know a lot of people are saying that there's no satellites in space. To me, it seems like there's got to be satellites. I don't know how there couldn't be with all the technology and GPS and I mean, like even Sirius XM, you can tell that it's a major signal, and the only time that Sirius XM really gets cut off is if you have like mountains or really big trees to the south of you. Well, at least in this part of the world. If just to your south along the road there's interference, it gets cut off. So, and that'll happen seemingly no matter where you are. So, I mean, to me that shows that the signal is coming from up above and from something pointing at that direction. I'm just going back and looking at this old post to see what I documented here. Whole lot of 74, that's for sure. You know, I didn't know reverse gematria back then, but Christmas Eve is also 74. Whoops, when you spell it right. This post is before I knew about reverse gematria. But yeah, you would think just because of these missions, they wouldn't need to send mannequins. And again, just everything they do is just a perfect numerical ritual. I mean, of course, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily fake, but yeah, I just think people are, again, if you can't prove that something is true or fake, just say, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if I'm getting bullshitted. I can tell you the thing they did in Poland was completely contrived. To me, it's like, and that's the thing too, it's like, I wish we could just like focus on something and just like really pound it home in the heads of the masses and just stop I mean, that's what they do to us too every day, right? Just like bombarding us with more information so you forgot about what happened yesterday. But, for the record, the guy who was reading Genesis back in 1968, he was reading it 68 days after his birthday. How about that? Catholicism is 68. See, I didn't realize the 68 connection to the Catholic Church back then, but again, that's the year the Club of Rome was established. I did not know the reverse. Okay. But yeah, again, just coming back to the point I was making, just this whole thing they did in Poland, and then requesting billions of more money. I mean, this really is, it's just such an easy thing to understand. We send missile systems to Poland on March 9th. Then 39 days after Putin's birthday, we got the missiles in Poland, where at first they blame it on Russia, and they say, it was actually Ukraine. And then, it's a reason for Biden to say, this is a reminder why we need to give even more money over there. Nearly another $40 billion. It's just like, God, I mean, where's the will in people to be like, okay, let's do something about this? I mean, isn't everybody just tired of paying all these taxes? It makes me sick to pay taxes to this government. There was a while that I was not paying taxes and just doing everything cash when I had my own business. And, now that I get, donations and stuff, and there's an electronic trail, and I've had the IRS come out to my house and auditors, it's just, try to minimize the old tax burden, but it just makes me sick that I have to give a single penny to this fraudulent government, that just siphons our money. And again, I mean, people can say again, you guys, it's not an accident that we give so much money to Israel and Ukraine, which is pretty much the Israel of the Eastern Bloc, and we don't do anything for our own communities that need it. But yeah, and you just see, I mean, how this whole wag the dog thing is. I mean, this whole contrived ordeal that's a total load of shit, and this is where our tax money goes to. And it just, I mean, it's like we're paying for our own destruction. We're paying for our own enslavement. We're paying for, the deliberate sabotage of the nation we live in. And seemingly no one gives a shit. That's why I feel like the best I can do is teach young people to not work for anybody. Because again, if you do have your own business, God, but once they get rid of cash, it won't even matter anyway. Everything will be electronic. It'll be like you work for somebody. That's why, you guys, we're just totally screwed if people don't stand up and they get us on the electronic currency. There will really be, it'll be, Well, I guess, who knows? Maybe if they do something like that, it'll cause enough outrage that people finally do fight back. But God, it's just, what's going to make people fight back? They're just so easily tricked by this government. Guys, there's bad men in caves crossing our borders. There's bad germs. Oh, it's just such a monster, man. This government destroyed families, enslaved kids in school, raised them up to be dummies, and then just keeps them in fear from every last angle, man. It's just oh my God, man. You see why they did what they did with Ted Kaczynski? Terminator, the movie Terminator, technology. Again, if people don't know about Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, he was supposedly, bombing, because he was saying, put out the word about how technology is going to overtake humanity, and I'll stop doing all this bombing I'm doing. That was the whole Ted Kaczynski thing. And, of course, in more recent years, they've been syncing up rituals with Ted Kaczynski, the whole mega bomber thing and a few other things, the Austin bombings. But, between that and Terminator about technology overtaking man, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Yeah, if you guys have not read my book, I mean, that's what the book's about, Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus, how all this stuff is being built or done so that there's all the excuses in place for why there needs to be a digital surveillance state of every last thing to keep us safe, to save the earth from climate change, to keep us safe from terrorists and germs. Yeah, indeed. Somebody says, watch the 1x1 2013 film with Rick Mayhall. Let's see. 1x1 Rick Mayhall. Looks like it might have actually been 2014. The plot concerns a group of friends who meet at a cafeteria and discuss population reduction conspiracy theories. I actually have seen this. I remember this. One scene and features Ernest explaining how a bioengineered virus and fake science could be used to reduce the population by 95%. The same figure from Utopia. Reduce the population by 95%. Remember at the beginning of the pandemic, they kept telling us the vaccine is 95% effective. Fauci, 95, big number with the Jesuits. Yeah, one by one, they will subtract. Okay. Yeah, good reminder. I actually have seen this. I forgot about it. I think somebody showed me this in 2020 when the whole thing started. It's probably about 2 years ago I watched it. And if I'm not mistaken, the Rick Mayall, I believe he's dead now. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he died around the same time the film came out, which is also weird. He died at age 56, you guys. He died at age 56, did Rick Mayall. And he had a film about how they could reduce the population through a virus. And again, just in case somebody out there somehow doesn't know about the name Kary Mullis, again, he died at age 74, right before the Event 201 simulation on the day leaving 74 days left in the year. And Nathan, I believe, has his full interview from the 90s on his channel where he was saying how Anthony Fauci, is misusing the PCR test to falsely diagnose HIV. And he said what they're doing is they're going into Africa and these people are drinking water with feces in it and they're sick from all sorts of things like this. And they're saying, these people are dying from HIV, and what we need to do is give a whole bunch of money to Trojan condoms, and we'll send them a bunch of condoms. And meanwhile, they're still going to continue to die from disease and illness because they're drinking water that has all kinds of crap in it, including feces. And, he said this is just a big money-making scheme. You're taking illness and you're ignoring the real causes, and then you're rebranding it as this, and then you're shoving all this money to these corporations who are behind the HIV thing, like the condom companies. And what do you know? Just happens to die right before the pandemic. And again, right before the Event 201 simulation. And I just always say, imagine if this is what I didn't find out about this until I found out about this the week after I finished my book. This is the one thing that should be in my book that's not in there. From his birthday to his death was 222 days. Of course, my book, that's why it would have fit in perfectly, because the big part of the book is about 222 and why 9/11 was 222 months before the day they declared the pandemic. I lost whatever image was there. Back when they did a data backup for the website, and we lost some images. You guys might recall when it happened, Rambo lost a bunch of images. He was mad. It was the only time we ever heard Rambo was mad. He's he almost I did it on purpose or something. It's Rambo, it wasn't supposed to happen. When they did they were trying to save space on the website, and then it knocked out some images. It was annoying, but it was not intentional. But yeah, again, just dead at 74, right before the simulation on the day, leaving 74 days left in the air. He died a span of 144 days from his upcoming birthday. Big Jesuit number. Here, actually, you know what? Let's even look more at this. His arch nemesis with Anthony Fauci, who's born on Christmas Eve. Anthony Fauci. Remember how they declared the pandemic on his 79th day of being 79 years old? Society of Jesus 79. You could also say it was 78 days after his birthday, like Wuhan coronavirus, which again is kind of like how Mullis died on a date that can be written 7/8. Well, hold on. I don't know if I ever measured from Fauci's birthday to his death. That 8/7 date also reminds of Mr. Bill Gates, Mr. 87, who got his vaccine on the 87th day of his age, in the anniversary of Roe vs. Wade, when his daddy was big on abortions. Or his last birthday. Fauci's would have been 2019 because he died August 7th, 2020. No, hold on, I'm getting dyslexic. It would have been 2018 because Mullis died August 7th, 2019, right before the Event 201 simulation. 226 days would have been his 227th day of his age, 32 weeks and 2 days later. It's also 139 days before his upcoming birthday. What about Billy Gates? Remember, Bill Gates got the same birthday as Jonas Salk. 283 days after Bill Gates' birthday, the 61st prime. And 82 days before Gates' upcoming birthday, before his COVID simulation. COVID 82, Seattle 82. Remember, him and Melinda got divorced on August 2nd, 82. Yeah, it does stand out more with him because, again, that 8/7 death goes with another big pattern with Bill Gates. And that's why it's just so frustrating, you guys. I mean, like, this is the kind of stuff that everybody should know about, and everybody should see through what a fraud it is. You know. How come Jake Tapper doesn't have any trolls? Jake Tapper, annual salary. You know, Jake Tapper reads the teleprompter and scares everybody into the agenda. Damn, his salary is up to $13 million a year. The last time I looked at this, his salary was $5 million a year. I like how the update's on Bill Gates' birthday. Woo, man. If only I could get 13 million people pledging $1 a month. There should be. Imagine if we had resources like that. Then we could change the fucking world, man. We could have a full-time people outside every news studio all the time getting out the word in every city, doing what we did in New York every single day. Thank you to everyone who does support the work. But it's just like, where is everyone else at? Like Jake Tapper. God, look at that picture of that guy. What a fucking goon that guy is, man. Look at that shit-eating grin on his face. The only people who get paid big in this world are criminals, man. It's frustrating. Actors and criminals, man. Money is not happiness, but damn, it would be nice to have $13 million to make a real movement happen. I might have to try out my niece's dying trick. Unfortunately for me, I only have one niece, and she now identifies as a dude. She changed her name on her 18th birthday and said she's a man. So it's sad, man. And that's what frustrates me too, just everything going on in this world. My only niece, she had the best name too. She had the best name. Her name was Grace. I think that's a great name. And she doesn't want that name anymore. She wants to be a dude. It's just like, come on. Oh, man, what a world we live in. I could have never imagined that when she was born. That 18 years later, she would identify as a dude. That's the only thing that's going on in this world that I could have not have predicted. I couldn't have predicted this whole, I want to switch my gender at the rate it's going on thing. I don't know if I told you guys this, but Sweet Lady had to go to an orientation for work, and she said the lady leading the orientation just went totally off topic, and she spent the whole day talking about how her husband now identifies as a woman and wants to be referred to as a female under a new lady name. I was like, how weird is that? You're married? God, that's got to be frustrating. Like, if you're, like, serious about your vows until death do us part, and now your husband's your wife? What? No, she didn't change her name to Greg. She actually changed her name to Alex. But at least Alex is kind of like a gender-neutral name, but Sorry about your best friend passing. That's funny. Your best friend had the same birthday as me? That's funny. Sorry she passed away, though. Yeah, again, I mean, that's the thing that's annoying. All the stuff you can't talk about is all the stuff that's the most vicious in the world. You can't talk about vaccines. You can't talk about transgender. You can't talk about Russia, Ukraine. I mean, these are all the biggest things going. What do you mean, using the new age gender language of the times? I didn't realize I used any of the... I don't understand your comment. Yeah, exactly. In the 90s, it was a free-for-all. No team has had more wins than the Bears in 102 years. Packers could surpass them tonight and become the all-time winningest team. That'd be interesting if that did happen. It'd be another 56 ritual if they did that, because they'd get their 56th win in Week 11 and become 5-6 for the year. Yeah, I'm not crazy about the game tonight, that's for sure. But that is interesting. Oh, yeah, of course you can't talk about the you-know-who. Of course. Well, can you imagine how much time it would take to upload all the videos I've ever done? I wouldn't be able to make a video for a month. Just be uploading nonstop. And nobody even cares about the stuff in the present, so what's the point of re-uploading stuff from 2013, 2014? I mean... All right, anyway, I've been ranting long enough. Been feeling the need to rant about things more the last few days because... Yeah, it's just... They just put it in our face every day. Every day. Again, Biden has to request $46.25 billion on the day leaving 46 days left in the year for Ukraine and COVID. I mean, just think about how many problems have existed in this country your whole lifetime that have never been dealt with. There's never been any federal funds put towards. But then these new problems they just pull out of the woodwork, they got all the money in the world for them. And that's why it's amazing that people can't figure out the way the game works. $37 billion for Ukraine, $9.25 billion for COVID-19. The sad thing is, I mean, most people wouldn't even be able to add that up and realize that's $46.25 billion, but then they're also not going to connect that he does it on the day leaving 46 days left in the year. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there for tonight. And got to make dinner. It's getting to be about dinner time out here. We always try to eat before 6. So remember to eat healthy. Remember to take care of yourself. Remember to get a good night's rest. Again, don't fear the COVID. But again, especially this time of year when there's just less vitamin D, good time of year to make sure you're getting enough sleep. So anyhow, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. And until next time.